So what is going on, guys? I am Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video. Welcome to the story of the astronaut zombie from Moon. This is my new updated version. The last video I did of him was over a year ago. Since then, we've had a whole bunch of new information that can finally tell us the proper backstory of the spaceman. If you didn't know, I have done a ton of story of videos on most of our characters in the zombie storyline. However, most of those videos were done 1 to 2 years ago. I believe most of them were made before we had the Canorium. And since then, we've had a whole bunch of new information. So let me know in the comment section below if, like this one, you would like updated versions of some of the old story of videos that we have new info about. And also, like I said, there's a bunch of other characters that I have yet to make story of videos on. So anyway, if you do go on to enjoy today's video, you know what to do. Drop a like rating if you want to. If not, it's totally fine. Make sure you are subscribed, but let's get into it. Here we go. So, taking a look at the astronaut on Moon, he is a very interesting character, kind of acting like George A. Romero from Call of the Dead. He will slowly follow you around the map, however, won't really bother you. He won't attack you, that is, unless you get too close, in which he will do either of the two things. He will swipe out at you if he can't reach, but if you get close enough to him, he will grab you, headbutt you, and you will then be teleported to a random point on the map. If this does happen, it will randomly take away one of your perks, although most of the time it is the first one that you received. It's also going to rearrange the order that your perks are in and critically damage your health, meaning if you get teleported to a place near to zombies and they hit you right away, you are going to go down. However, you can escape from the astronaut's grasp either by pulling back and jumping just before he headbutts you, or if you can knife him quickly enough, he will let you go. If you shoot the astronaut, he isn't going to flinch, he won't react. In terms of mechanics, he is similar to the Napalm zombie from Shangri-La. He moves very slowly, their health is the same, which is 4 times the regular health of a normal zombie on any given round, and then depending on how many players in the map, 1, 2, 3 or 4, you would times that, which does make him extremely difficult to kill with normal weapons. It is possible though, and when you do kill him, a round or 2 later, he does respawn. Upon death, he violently explodes, sending all of the players near to him flying back, and if there are any zombies close to him when he's killed, they will die too. You probably would have also noticed that the astronaut has a red player name above his head. The name that you see is always going to be someone on your friends list, or someone who has recently played with the host, except from when you're playing solo, in which it chooses one from a set list. For example, it could be a developer of the game. If you didn't know, he's actually immune to both versions of the wave gun. Insta-kill or nukes don't affect him. We can see that he's wearing pretty normal astronaut outfit, nothing really stands out. However, if you go into his helmet, you can actually see inside there are 2 glowing orange or yellow dots. And if you go into the head of our characters, these aren't there. They are specific to this astronaut that follows us. And if you look at the colour of these glowing dots, they are the same as the zombies. There are zombie eyes glowing inside of his helmet, yet on the outside, we can't see them. You have to go into theater mode in order to see this, which is a bit weird. Why would Treyarch put it into the game? But what it does tell us is it isn't a human in here, it is a zombie. Now, looking into his story, where does he come from? Who exactly is he? Well, we actually learn about his background from a radio in Classified.
I'm just a little confused, Dr. Schuster. You've already successfully established a teleporter link between the Pentagon and Groom Lake.
The Pentagon to Groom Lake is child's play, a distance of 3,890 kilometers. What we're talking about now is a distance of 380,000 kilometers.
But it can be done.
Of course, Colonel Sawyer, but I had 2 years to perfect the link to Groom Lake. The timetable you've given me to establish a link to the Moon is far more aggressive.
Do I need to remind you what we're up against? Dr. Richtofen told us about Griffin Station back in '45. From what we've discovered, he told the Soviets the same thing. The Soviets achieved teleportation 2 years before we did. If they get to the Moon first, they get to claim Griffin Station.
Yes, I know all about your adorable space race. But need I remind you that if this teleporter becomes operational, even a single mathematical error could lead to catastrophic results. Yes, it will take you to the Moon. I have little worry over where it will take you. I worry about when.
What? Time travel? Give me a break.
Precisely. If the specifications are not exact, we could create temporal rifts with ripple effects that will undo the very fabric of space-time itself. Simply put, Don't rush. Science moves at its own pace.
Just get it done, Doctor. You have 2 weeks before we begin testing.
So we know after Group 935 was disabandoned, just before Richtofen went on his grand scheme, travelling to Call of the Dead, Shangri-La and eventually Moon where he would take control of the zombies, he told the Pentagon that they should hire some of Group 935's former employees, and one of those was Dr. Schuster. And so Schuster was hired by the Americans to help build a teleporter linking Groom Lake to Group 935's Griffin Station. However, as we heard, the Americans were rushing Schuster to get this done. Their goal was to teleport to the moon before the Russians did, since they both had similar technology. They were rushing Schuster to get it finished. He told them that it's not that simple, saying to them that a single mathematical error could lead to catastrophic results. Meaning, yes, there's a chance you could be teleported to the moon, however, the worry would be exactly when you would arrive there, what date, what year. But even with that, we can still hear them telling him that he has 2 weeks before testing begins. But anyway, 2 weeks passes, and with an unfinished teleporter link, the Americans begin testing.
Log entry 97, August 3rd, 1963. The matter transference device has been realigned. Again, in order to accommodate additional temporal variables. This is test number 11, human subject 5, one Private Hastings. If the transference specs are correct, Private Hastings will arrive at Griffin Station on August 3rd, 1963. If he arrives at this date, a communication link will be successfully established and we will have confirmed that the teleporter's temporal anomalies have been compensated for. Are you ready, Private Hastings?
Yes, sir.
I can't understand a word of what he's saying in that ridiculous spacesuit. A simple thumbs up will suffice, Private Hastings. Good. Initiate the transference matrix. Moment of truth. Dr. Richards, did it work? Do we have a stable connection?
No, sir. Nothing. We've lost him.
That's the 5th man we've lost. This base is rapidly running out of privates. Oh, I suppose they're all just dancing around on the moon somewhere in the far future, having a grand old time.
So we can see they began doing their experiments to teleport humans from Earth to the moon, and as part of test number 11, human subject 5, who was Private Hastings, he would be the Pentagon's 5th attempt, their 5th human test subject to send to the moon. But not only were they trying to teleport him there, they were also trying to place him further forward into the future, which clearly the American scientists, unlike Group 935, hadn't mastered. And so we can see they placed Private Hastings into the teleporter on Groom Lake. He's already dressed in his spacesuit, so he's ready when he arrives there. They then power up the teleporter, Private Hastings disappears, and the Pentagon hear nothing of him ever again. And they say that he is the 5th man that they've lost. I suppose they're all just dancing around on the moon somewhere, far in the future, having a good time. And so this tells us that the astronaut that we see on Moon is Private Hastings. He was sent here by the Americans, never to be found again. And so, like many other lost astronauts, he's just been roaming the moon ever since. And that can explain why every time we kill this astronaut and he ends up coming back a round or two later, these could be all of the other test subjects that have been lost up here. Now, as we also know, this astronaut, by the time our Ultimus characters get here, isn't human. It is actually a zombie behind the spacesuit. So clearly, because of the element 115 up on Moon, Private Hastings and the other astronauts in these suits eventually got turned into the undead. But that explains exactly who this is and why they are up here. He was a human test subject to test teleportation from Earth to the moon by the Pentagon. They used him in one of their experiments, however, like many others, it went wrong, and he was teleported somewhere into the distant future on Moon, lost, never to return again, and we see him here. This is Private Hastings, or potentially it could be one of the many other lost subjects that the Americans sent up here. And like I said, over time, 115 infected them and they became zombified. So there we go. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed today's video. If you have, a like rating would of course be appreciated. If not, it's totally fine, whatever you guys want to do. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel, and until next time, goodbye.